strawberry blueberry waffle. And I'm having the same, but I didn't, I left that one big strawberry on James's plate because it just looks so beautiful. I didn't want to cut it up. It's
awesome.
humongous.
Yeah.
James is going to talk about something, and I'm going to relax. I didn't sleep hardly at all last night. I kept waking up.
It wasn't even windy. So.
No, it was just, I was stressed out because I really didn't want to go. We got this beautiful food. The blueberries were from last week, and I hadn't gotten around to using them. I kept thinking, oh well, they look okay still, maybe I'll wait. So I waited. And anyway, we got the strawberries this morning from the Salvation Army. And they're amazing looking. So I was dreading going, not because I didn't want to get free food. Who doesn't want to get free, beautiful food? But I didn't want to have to go early, and like I would rather go later and not compete with other people. It stresses me out. And so thinking about having to be in the lineup, thinking about it just, yeah. So that's why I was awake, because I was stressing about that. And when I finally go, it's not too bad. It's just the thinking about it. So, anyway. But, beautiful food today. And because I was so tired, she had, the woman who runs it, Lynn, she told me I could grab 6 things of the peas, and they're in little packages of 2 that are connected, and I wasn't thinking, and I grabbed 3 packages of 2. But that's okay, because I don't like those peas anyway.
And maybe some people
might like them more.
Or who otherwise wouldn't eat so healthily.
But it just bothers me, those packaging. Like, I don't like that company. I don't know. Like, they've changed their names now. Like, they had and their little logo, but it's the same. They had a guy looking like old MacDonald, some
farmer,
white guy in the picture, and I can't remember what the name was. But anyway, this is from Guatemala, right? And now it's called something like New World Peas or something, New World Farms or something, I don't know, which is still creepy. And it says English peas, right? So it's like, it's still this idea that, some person from England owns some farm in Guatemala and has these Guatemalan people potting peas by hand for you, picking and potting them by hand, so that you can feel like you're I don't know, whatever. I'm too tired to articulate.
Maybe it's supposed to be some name like, we're supposed to imagine the name as Obregon. One of the presidents of Mexico was called that. Turns out he was Irish, and I guess that was an attempt at O'Brien.
Really?
Obregon. I could be wrong. It might just be a coincidence, but yeah, he's president for a while. Basically at the end of the Mexican Revolution, so starting just a little over 100 years ago. So old Obregon, the farmer. Not quite English, but Irish. Well, Northern Ireland is in the United Kingdom.
I don't know. Maybe it is some colonialist sort of person who owns a farm and has a bunch of Guatemalan people potting, and
Could be.
or it could be Guatemalan farmers. I should
I
really
hope
look
so.
it up sometime. Anyway, it creeps me out either way. The packaging, disturbing, and the product, not good. They're really awful tasting peas.
That grape just wanted to go. It just kept rolling.
Mm-hmm.
End over end, too.
Mm.
Like
Like an
rolling
egg.
on his side like that.
Anyway,
Maybe the birds will eat. I'd better make sure the dogs don't
Yeah, actually, you should.
Because apparently the
James
grapes aren't
accidentally
good for
fed Elvis 2 grapes last night.
at least one. Might have been just one. Several hit the floor and I grabbed.
He survived.
I survived the shock, and yeah, Elvis survived the 1 or 2 grapes that he wolfed down. He knew it wasn't supposed to. He
My
thought I was
waffle's
being
delicious.
greedy, I think. Yeah, this looks phenomenal. I almost didn't want to put the grapes on.
I've been making my
Really?
waffles with rye flour. We like them.
Presumably healthier,
I don't know.
tastier.
Tastes kind of like graham crackers that way.
I kind of like graham crackers, even when I was a kid. We were led to believe they were kind of for kids or something.
I don't know.
I think my parents were trying to make it seem like a treat.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, what the heck? I mean, we really lived low on the hog. When we were in Africa, we lived a whole lot better than the
African people?
the African people. Much, much better. But we did not have running water or electricity. No, and as a consequence, no lights. Our lights were, we didn't use them much. When the sun went down, you basically went to bed. We'd light paraffin lamps in the evening. Just a few more minutes of light. So we had a wood stove. And we collected water for
That's what my dad had on the farm.
drinking
When they were
as
young
well as
people.
bathing. Yeah. We had a big cauldron in the backyard that we used for cooking up the water for a bath. Heat it up and cook it up too. When it got near the end of the dry season, I think we drank out of that. We had 2 big, they were like silo-sized tanks at the back of the house, one on each corner. And leaves would get in there and they'd kind of get tasting medicinal towards the end of the dry season. As I recall, we'd boil that water and drink it.
Well, we drank the water on the farm from the dugout.
Yeah, you just got to make sure
It
you
was
boil
yellowy color.
Yeah. And
Tasted like leaves.
yeah, that's exactly right. So you know it.
Mhm.
Well, you're one of the very few people in Canada. I know you're considerably younger than me. It's gone through something like what most people in Canada would
We always
consider
had
deprivation.
electricity.
Did you? So you had an electrical stove, did you?
Nope. In the one house that Dad built on
Yeah.
We had electricity though. We could have had an electric stove, but
Yeah.
we had one that took wood.
A wood stove.
It was
Yeah.
an old one that had come from Grandma and Grandpa's old house.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
It was
Chopping wood.
wonderful.
Now there's a lot of wood up where you come from.
I like chopping wood.
Yeah. I like the idea until I realized I could chop my toes off.
You just stand with your feet apart. You'd never chop your toes off. It would never happen. Anyway. Yeah, we didn't have running water in that house.
Yeah. Anyway, I can remember we used to have to cook our peanuts. We actually grew peanuts there. You'd have to cook them up,
Really?
put them on a big pan. You'd open them up
Don't eat that. It's off my lap.
and put them on a big pan. Cook them on the stove. I guess you had to. There's too much stuff in the soil. Or something. There's nothing in the soil.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about
It
peanuts.
might have been just to kill aflatoxin. Isn't it peanuts that have
I don't know if
aflatoxins?
that would kill it.
Hard to say. That's what
Or
we
else
used to.
people would just do that.
Yeah, maybe they should. Maybe that'd be a way so you could eat peanuts. If you had cancer or I don't eat peanuts now. The cancer come back
Those are my blueberries.
any stronger than it is already. Yeah, the other day I was losing the blueberries so badly. I was almost losing my marbles. But
I am going to pick those up and wash them.
yeah, I know. I haven't lost the one yet. I just lost that break. And I tell you, it just took off on me. It's like it had a mind of its own.
So we heard that
Yeah.
6 Russian oligarchs
Had their accounts frozen here. Is that what happened?
I don't know what happened. They committed suicide.
Oh, that sort of stuff.
But I
Well,
wonder
that's
if,
not the one story I heard about. I thought you were talking about another story.
that's
about
what I
people
heard.
friends. And so why did they? Because they were afraid of Putin or because they'd lost their fortunes?
Well, that's what the people that we're talking about were joking about. They were saying they
lost their
couldn't stand having to live like the rest of us. So they,
Yeah, exactly right. That's the joke about, well, not even like the rest of it. You see, they're just getting their assets frozen out here. They live high on the hog in Russia. So,
but when I hear about that, I'm like, 6 commit suicide?
I just wonder if they crossed a certain person.
Yeah,
There's still lots
honestly.
of people before.
Because 6? Really? I don't think it was suicide.
If he were smart, he'd commit suicide himself. I'm talking about Putin. Because we can't keep on going this way. The world's going to have to come down on him, whether or not he gets away with this Ukrainian thing. He's pushing and pushing. And one of these days, he's going to be pushing Russia so hard. I got sick of him. And they'll put his head on a pike and then hand his head on a platter to the Ukrainians or the Americans or whoever will take
Oh my gosh.
it. You listen to that, Vlad? Commit suicide now and don't take a bunch of people with you. Think of the fate of your great inspiration. I'm not talking about Peter the Great, I'm talking about Adolf. He ended up committing suicide. And
Here you are.
but he brought down all, and you listen to you Russians? You listen. guy's like Hitler. It's going to be his fate. Either he's going to commit suicide, or someone's going to have to do it for him.
I can't imagine he would.
Oh, I can't imagine. He wouldn't even be.
He's going to take people down with him if he
He's
goes.
going to take people down with, but Hitler did too. You know, we've got. I don't think they're cooked up. Some of his bunker speeches are more like rants. And he was saying the German nation has lost this war, doesn't deserve to survive. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So, Putin's going to be the same way. Claims he's a nationalist, but he doesn't care about Russia. All he cares about is guess who? Yeah, himself. So, you guys better wake up and whack him while you can. Or I prefer to encourage you to arrest him. But I am telling you that if that doesn't work out, what's going to happen to you?
All right.
And keep in mind.
What are you reviewing today?
Okay, preview. I started this Hungarian phrase book and dictionary. I'll be finishing this up sometime in the next decade.
Apparently Hungarian's difficult.
Hungarian is very difficult. If you come from a non-Hungarian background or non-Finno-Ugric background, it's just set up in a very different way. So I'm not saying it's difficult intrinsically. Really, if you look at it, English is difficult intrinsically. If you're learning to try to learn how to read it, because it's spelled so well differently. And the languages I've studied, still process of studying, the fact that it's very difficult. On and on it goes.
How many is that now?
What, cars coming through?
No, blueberries on the
Hitting
floor.
the deck. Yeah. Okay. So I was talking about this the other day a little bit. Hesiod, Theogony. So I'm just going to review a little bit in case you weren't watching. So it's edited, basically, translated with an introduction by Norman O. Brown. So kind of specialized Norman O. Brown did in mythology. So this is kind of like a very small, a non-compendious compendium of Greek mythology. At least some of the basic gods. There's not much that I would prefer to consider.
So you thought about going
Legend.
through that because of the dog that we met that had a...
No.
No.
But that's why I knew.
It just happened to be a coincidence that we ran across.
Yeah, it was a coincidence. I mean, I go through a lot of classical stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, like right now, I'm reading Virgil's Aeneid in 2 different translations. Yeah, that's 2. And one I've read already, Dryden's, but I'm going through it again. And then I'm going through, it's an awful translation, but what the hey, I'll put myself through almost anything, including reading Mein Kampf, and reading Das Kapital, and on I go. Reading Michel Foucault. Put myself through some copies. Jacques Derrida might even be worse than... No, he's not worse than Michel Foucault. Foucault is hard to be worse than. Slimy individual.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, Norman O. Brown, what he does, it's really off-putting.
That guy?
Yeah, Norman O. Brown, the guy who translated this and basically edited. He's got this idea that certain things don't belong in here. Stuff that he's translated, so he puts the stuff, so much of it into footnotes, you know. He'll say, this doesn't belong here, you know, according to the opinion of the author or writer or translator or whatever. Omitting lines 144 through 145, which are an interpolation expanding line 143, and they were named Cyclops because they had a single round eye set in their foreheads. And so he's saying it's an interpolation, something put there presumably by later editors. Dude, let us be the judge, okay? If you're still alive, Norman O'Brown. Wow, it's incredible. I mean, he might know, but he wasn't there, you know, when this stuff was put down. So it's expanding line 143. Omitting lines. So he does have the stuff. He says omitting the lines and then puts the lines down at the bottom. Just put them in there. Put them in brackets. Some of the stuff in the longer passages, you see, puts in italics and leaves them in, and that's annoying enough. Leaves them in the body of the text. But here's another example. Omitting lines 65 through 67 with lovely voices pouring from their lips as they sing the laws of all things and sure ways of the immortals with lovely voices pouring forth. So I don't know why he doesn't even say why he omits it there.
It's a little bit redundant.
But well, some of it was in it, but what the hey? I mean, we an editor shouldn't be making, that's like defacing something, even though it's.
You're right.
Hey, like I don't like the way Picasso did this person's foot. I think I'll just erase that. Get a little bit of turpentine out and erase that. Omitting line 25, which is interpolated from line 52.
You're chatty.
The Olympian muses, the daughters of Zeus, the lord of the Aegis. So he's saying it was imported from line 52. Well, it might have been put in there too because dude wanted it there. So it's just, it's a very, I do not recommend this. Even though I generally like these little things, you'll get various smaller works, very often philosophy. But
yeah, I would rather read less philosophy than more.
But I would too. I'd like to be able to read no philosophy at all, but unfortunately, it's important for people.
I know.
So I called one of the philosophers in town. He's the only one I'd do this to. He's a horrible scumbag. I said, I'm not going to mention the context, but he richly deserved it. I said, so you're a mesosopher then? Or he was saying, I won't do a certain something, or I'm going to do certain something, which was very, very bad. And I said, yeah, I was acting as though, and it wasn't a surprise. I was trying to discourage him from doing it without actually telling him not to do it. I was trying to reveal how ignorant what he was doing. He'd done it 1 year, he was going to do it the next year. He said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I'd given him information that just showed how ignorant it was. And I said, I'm not surprised, you're a mesosopher. A philosopher is someone who loves philosophy. A misogynist is someone who hates women. So guess what a mesosopher is? I'll let you guys figure it out.
So you're saying
he couldn't figure it out. He should know a little bit of Greek. He's a philosopher. He couldn't figure it out. What was that? He came up to me. I thought he was going to pound me out, but he's too much of a coward to do that. What were you going to say?
You're saving your big strawberry for last.
That's basically it. Yeah, I did.
I probably should have left the greens on it because it looks so beautiful with the greens, but it still looks beautiful.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I didn't want that one to hit the deck. That was the main thing I was thinking about, because it was up there, not really precariously, but somewhat precariously. I was going, man, oh man, that would be just not the cat's pajamas if that hit the deck. So here we go. This is purports to be part of the Harvard Classics Veritas registered edition. But what I found is I'm going through reading it. I'm getting page 277, page 284. The next page is 29.
How did that happen?
So if we go 32 pages on.
What's that about? You're back to 317.
Yeah, so it misses 32 pages. And what has happened is it's...
Is it back where the 32 something should be? No. They're still there.
They're still there. So what they did was they duplicated it, page 29. Page 29 is the.
Oh my
Japanese
gosh!
say,
So page 29 is page 29.
through 60. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So where to
That
compare and through
Didn't really make
60,
a lot of
right?
sense, did it?
So we'll see if 60 is the same. Mean
The
to
two
say.
29s were the
Mean
same.
to say. So, and the 60s are the same. It's the whole run of thing from 29 to 60.
Okay,
It's
so
maybe what
they're
acquires.
missing pages though.
Well, of course, between
Yeah.
280 is 32 pages.
Yeah.
They've got it all lined up. You know, like
Yeah.
it's 32 pages missing, 32 pages.
They just
They
stuck an
include-
extra 32 in there. They're
No,
like, oh, no
there's-
one's going to read this crap.
Yeah,
so.
I suspect sometimes these things are done like by sections. You see, 32 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 to the 5th power. And that's, I think, how they do it. So it's
Oh, so some people might have got books with no 29 to whatever, and the 300s down here, you're thinking.
it's hard to say what would happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly right. I think who knows where that thing ended up. But
Yeah, that's some
yeah,
quality
so,
work, Harvard.
Okay, yeah, Harvard. I expect a little better.
Boy.
Yeah, it's amazing when I run across textbooks from Oxford University Press. They are close to the worst, especially on their maps.
Missing
It's
another.
stunning. You know, I know geography pretty well,
Go.
but so I don't know. Other people don't seem to recognize it. I'll look at a map in a Oxford. How much time, Pi? 2. She wasn't giving me an English gesture to tell me to buzz off. So I look at Oxford University Press thing. I look at a publication. I have maps. This might be history stuff. They have maps. And I'll go, wow, I'm lucky if it's only 2 places that are significantly mislocated. So Oxford University Press is a little off the topic, I suppose, but pull up your socks, you useless idiots. They've come right off your feet and they're in your shoes. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, Oxford University Press, you blew this one. Now, luckily, I only paid, used book prices, so it's probably like 50 cents for this sort of thing, but it's shameful. Anyway, I'll review this later on. It's part of a series. I have I have Homer, the Odyssey in this series. But this has got Plato, a few of his dialogues, 3 of them. The Apology of Socrates, Crito, and Phaedo. So, the 2 dialogues, and then the Apology of Socrates. And then the golden sayings of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Epictetus. He's a Stoic. So the basic theme of this is Stoicism, of this volume. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. I'm not sure if I'm putting the pronunciation. And then there's something, I guess it's a biography of Marcus Aurelius. And then the Philosophy of Antoninus, which would be the same thing. Unfortunately, they're in that section. No, the Philosophy of Antoninus is there. But I'm missing much of what I guess is the biography of, because that's in that section, the 32-page section. That's missing. Anyway, somewhere along the line, I thought this is the one. Did it? Did I hear it go? I think it blinked off.
I thought that was a bird.